Hello, my name is Chris Alexander, and you're obviously visiting my website. So I thought I would just take an opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself. I just want to kind of envision that we're at lunch or dinner and just kind of talking about each other, sharing our stories. And that's kind of what my website is. It's a little bit about who I am, where I've been, and hopefully what I'm planning to do. And I live in the Houston, Texas area in a suburb called Magnolia. And I've actually been able to travel all around the world, but fortunately I've always lived in Texas. And it's a good place to live if you're certainly in the oil and gas industry, which is what I am. I went to Texas A&M University. Actually got 3 degrees. I like school so much. I went to school and got 3 degrees in mechanical engineering. And since the mid-90s, about 1993, my wife and I, Tanya, have lived in Houston. And since that time period, a lot has happened. It's kind of interesting to look back and think about over your life. But since 1993, we've lived in several houses. We've had 3 kids. And had several jobs and done lots of different things. So overall, I'd say I've had a really fun life. I'm actually 51 years old, so kind of view this as kind of a midpoint in my life. Lord willing, I've got a lot more years left in me. Things that are important to me, people are really important. And I can't say when I first got married or I first started my career, I tend to be kind of a driven, task-oriented person. But certainly over the past 10 or 15 years, people are the most important thing in my life. And I really work hard at it, work hard to have relationships. People are very important. So that kind of dictates the way that I view things, how I view life, how I treat people, how I run my business, how I try to build business is built on relationships. And you know, one of the things as you kind of look through this website, you'll see I've got lots of technical articles. Being an engineer, I do a lot of technical writing, so you can find out a little bit about the work that I've done. You'll also find a lot of Bible studies. And if you ask me the very core of who I am, I tell you it's my relationship with Jesus Christ. And I'm not a preacher. I don't get paid to preach. But I love to tell people about Jesus and who He is. And it's really interesting, I think sometimes even in the United States, which at one point was a Christian nation, we had a lot of Christians, it's sometimes an unpopular thing to talk about our relationship with Jesus, but yet if I had some other religious belief or believe strongly in something else, everybody's okay with that. But for some reason we got to a point in our country where people are uncomfortable talking about Jesus. But I'm not. It's who I am. It's how I run my company. When you really look at the core of who I am, I talked about I really care about people, but sometimes you have to ask yourself why. Why do you do what you do? Why do you go to work? Why do you have a family? And for me, it goes back to people being so important. And so if I meet you and we visit for a little bit of period of time, you're going to find out that I care about you. You know, I even with the pizza guy, we order a fair amount of pizza in the Alexander house, and even when the pizza people come, you know, there's somebody on the other side of that pizza box, and I'll usually ask them how they're doing, how their day's going. Sometimes I'll ask them, is there anything I can pray with you about? And if I'm really in the zone, I ask them about their relationship with Jesus. And I can't tell you how many times that we've given Bibles away to pizza guys, the plumber, the guy that works on the air conditioning. And when I feel like I'm really in the zone, we have the opportunity to talk about their relationship with God. And we've had multiple people since we've lived here in Magnolia who've walked away and left the Alexander house knowing God at a little different level. So I appreciate the opportunity to share with you a little bit about myself. I hope you enjoy the website. We've got different ways that you can contact me. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm also president of a company called ADV Integrity, which I love. We've got a great staff of people. I actually started the company about 3 years ago, and it has grown beyond anything I could have ever dreamed. So thanks for being on the website today. I do want to ask you a couple of questions, and they're questions I ask myself almost every day. The first thing is, why are you here? What's your purpose in life? And I think for all of us, once you figure that out, man, life gets a lot more fun. The other one, which I think is really important, is what are you doing to make the world a better place? When you turn on the news, especially right now and in 2020, there's a lot of unrest and there's a lot of people doing destructive things. I don't think that's the way to live life. You need to make a contribution. And the last question I'll ask you, which is probably the most important question that anybody can ask you, is if you died today, do you know where you'd go? And if you don't know the answer to that question, we've got resources on our website that can help you that. And if you're a friend of mine and I've never asked you that question, I apologize. And I need to do that because I would hate for me to leave this planet. I know exactly where I'm going because of my relationship with Jesus, but I would hate to have a friend who doesn't know where that is. So anyway, if you've got resources, if you can contact me, please do that. And thanks again for visiting chrisalexander.com.